Warm welcome to CrossYoga. My name is Ria. I'm the host of this channel and the founder of CrossYoga. And today I want to guide you through a slow class. So it's going to be pretty easy, and I'm going to read a verse from Matthew 5, which will maybe challenge us a little bit. Welcome on your mat. Sit down and find some comfortable seated position when either you sit like me or in hero pose on your calves or whatever feels good. Straighten up your spine. Side it out, whatever you need to side out. Close your eyes. And you're welcome to rest your hands on your knees or thighs, shoulders down. And if you're new to this practice, we'll spend a few moments just breathing, listening into God's word, becoming wiser through the Holy Spirit. And be welcome, and know that you're welcome no matter where you're at in your spiritual journey. No matter where you're at in your yoga journey or your health journey. Try to breathe deeply, slowly if you can. And if there's anything on your mind that you need to let go of right now, an argument or a worry that's just popping up in your mind, maybe speak it out loud if you like to God and let it go for a moment. And still breathing pretty deeply. Try to listen. I'm reading from the Message version. There is another old saying that deserves a second look. And this is Jesus saying this. Eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth. Is that going to get us anywhere? Here's what I propose. Don't hit back at all. If someone strikes you, stand there and take it. If someone drags you into court and sues you for the shirt of your back, gift wrap your best coat and make a present of it. And if someone takes an unfair advantage of you, use the occasion to practice the servant life. No more tit-for-tat stuff. Live generously. And try to take that verse into your everyday life, at work, school, wherever you are, at home. That fairness thought that if I do this, then you have to do that. I know that one in my mind. Let it go. God has given you so much. So God, help me, help us to live generously. Help us to give to the world everything you've given us. Basically, we don't own anything. It's all a gift from you. And if you feel like surrendering, maybe you lean a little bit forward, let your palms face up, let your head sink down, and just bow down saying, God, help me. to let go of what I think is fair and right. Live with your fairness in my mind. And then begin to sway from side to side, warming up a little bit. We'll get back to that verse and that chapter again. Living generously is also something you can do with yourself here on the yoga mat. So be merciful with yourself, with every posture and every move. All right? Now lean out to the right. And maybe you take your left arm above your head and lean to the side. Really stretching, lengthening through the ribs here. Take a huge inhale. Lift through your core and go to the other side. Leaning over, noticing that it shouldn't hurt in your lower back. Let's do that one more time. Core in, go to your right side. And lift up, lean to your left. Beautiful. We're warming up our spine a little bit and then slowing down in just a moment. Sitting up tall again. Take your right hand here, move it to your left elbow, your left thigh. Sit up tall through your spine, opening your shoulders. Take an inhale, just because we need to get our shoulders engaged. Put your hands above your head, and then left hand here on your right knee, and twist. Let's do that a few more times. Inhale, arms above your head, and then down, twisting to your left. Again, moving back, lifting your arms to your right. And one last time to each side. We're going to make some small movements to warm up our spine. We can't warm up our bodies really well with all the stretching, so that's why we need a little bit of movement. Now get your wrist involved. You might do some circles or something that's beneficial. And even take your hands above your head here, dancing generously with your wrists. All right, downward facing dog. Spread your fingers out. Slowly walk yourself into downward facing dog. Lifting up your hip, making sure your tippy fingers there are engaged. Bending one knee, the other one. Hips distance in between your feet, so don't go too wide or too narrow for that matter. And breathe. Then walk your feet to the front end of your mat. Again, hip width apart, bend your knees, let your head hang. Try to go a little bit to the back of the heel and to the front of the foot, and just notice where you feel comfortable. And bend one knee, straighten the other, do a little bit of creative movements, getting our legs warm. All right, slowly engage your core and lift up, half lift. I would encourage you to take your hands here to your kneecaps or your calves and just stand tall here. Engage your core, maybe look down. Tuck your chin towards your chest and move into your mountain pose. Put your hands above your head. Let your palms meet, relax your head or your arms, and then gently, generously lean back. Offering up your heart. Maybe with this pose saying, yes, I'm ready to let go of that grudge I hold against someone. I don't want to be the one that's supposed to punish or give people what they deserve. God will do that. Straighten your spine. And slowly come down to your forward fold. Let your fingers reach the floor. If you can't reach, maybe blocks or just bent further down in your knees. Take your right leg and move it back to the back end of your mat, lowering down your knee. Now, because of my knees, I like to fold my mat just to take extra care of my knees. Low lunge. I lift up my arms and move my hip a little bit forward. Now there is some balance here. So look forward, lift up your heart, lengthen through your collarbones. And if there's more space, maybe you move your hip further down and forward. Wrap your fingers here behind you, squeeze your shoulder blades. And then open up your heart in the sense that you lift up your heart towards the sky. Breathe. Move your hip even further forward. Make sure the whole front foot is still really engaged, lifting through the arch of the foot. Release your hands. Take one hand on each side of the foot and move yourself back. Maybe you scooch that front foot a little bit in front of you. Straighten out the leg, toes point towards the sky, and then come into your runner's stretch. Lean forward, forehead reaches towards the knee or the shin. And then slowly lift your head. We're not moving that much. Take that right hand and move it to the outer edge, actually, of your foot. And then go into a little bit of a bent or side bend. Maybe still leaning a little bit forward. Moving your torso or shoulders to your left. Awesome. Coming back. Walk your hands to the front end of your mat and step that front foot back to downward facing dog. And try to stand still in your down dog, really engaging your fingers and knuckles in the mat. And maybe your heels reach the floor, maybe not. I invite you to broaden through your collarbones. And breathe. Here you bent your knees. It feels not relaxing standing here, but it shouldn't be the hardest of all poses either. Look forward and again step your feet to the front end of your mat. Vertebrae by vertebrae, move into mountain pose, standing firmly here. Roll your shoulder blades back and rotating your shoulders out to the side so you open up your chest. Take your palms a little bit out to the side. No need to lean back, but engagement of your chest muscles and of your back. Move forward. You can sway from side to side if you like that. Let your fingers reach the floor and step left foot back all the way. And again, low lunge. So I'll invite you to bend or fold your mat. That front foot and the back knee should not be on a line. We should have hip width distance. If you draw two lines here on the mat, one from your knee and one from your front foot. Lift your arms up, shoulders a little bit down, and again, move your hip forward. Now the back foot, you can have your toenails on the ground or tuck your feet under if you like. Completely up to you and whatever you like. Belly breath, so that your breath goes deep into your lungs all the way down to your belly button and up again. And this time, fold your fingers, put your fingers or hands here behind your head, and then lean back, support your head with your hands. And maybe you feel like you can go further back because there is some support for your neck. Now this is not an easy pose. There's a lot of strength going on here, so just keep breathing. One last big breath. And surrender from that stretch. Move your hip back, run a stretch, it's called. Again, that front foot, if it's up to the side, move it a little bit. Just square it in front of your hip. Maybe use your fingers or blocks and then lean forward. Noticing that straightened out leg here is not hyperextended. And even your hip, your left hip with a bended knee is not moving up to the side, but stay somewhat stacked above your knee. Notice how it feels. If you can generously stretch more without crossing any borders of limitations that you shouldn't cross. Take your left hand and move it to the outer edge of the right side of the foot, and as we did before, moving into a little bit of a side bend along with the hamstring stretch. Beautiful. Walk yourself back into mountain pose at the front of the mat. Taking your time before you get into your mountain pose. Engage your core and stand tall. We're gonna move into a little bit of balance now. So sink a little bit low in your knee. So this will be eagle pose. I'll just turn around so you'll be able to see. Take your right leg and move it on top of your left. Now make sure you bend your knees. If you don't do that, it's impossible to get anything going here. So you can take your toes down on the mat or wrap your foot all the way around if possible. Squeeze your inner thighs. Now I will not invite you to do your eagle hands. I will invite you to do your cactus hands just to switch things up. So take your arms up here if you can keep your balance at least. Spread out your fingers. Keep breathing. Look down somewhere in front of you. Beautiful. Let your hands go and release the right leg and move it back to the back end of your mat. Turn the foot. Warrior two. Spread out your eagle wings and stand firm. Sink low as you open up your hip. maybe you take a look at your front knee if it's stacked above the ankle. Take a look at the back leg there. Is the knee high extended again? Try to micro bend a little bit. Breathe. And notice if your shoulders tends to lift, and then slowly move them down. Extended side angle, elbow down here, not leaning or sacking down, and take the left arm, maybe move it down and up so that the pinky finger is lifted towards the sky. Opening up your shoulders so that your shoulders are somewhat stacked above each other. Trying to make what could look like a line from the back heel all the way through your ribs and arm. Look down if it's difficult to hold the balance. Awesome, let's go. Fingers down the mat. Step that front foot and back foot together at the top of the mat. Go into a forward fold and use that as a way to relax. Bend your knees and move to a mountain pose again. These three poses on the other side. Lower down on knees, this time left leg moves on top, eagle pose, 1 or 2 ways around. Welcome to find a position where you have something to hold on to. Take eagle arms with you, or your cactus arms with you. 90-degree angles in your elbows. Move your shoulder blades back together. Spread out your fingers. Maybe you do tiger hand with a claw. And breathe. No matter how shaky you are here, remember, be generously to yourself. I'm not saying a lot of bad stuff right now. Beautiful. Release. Move your left foot back and turn that foot around. Aligned with the short end of your mat or a little bit further forward if that's better for your hip. Sink as low as you need to. Arms out. Look to the front end of your fingers there. Forward and back. The length of God's love and mercy towards us is so much longer than from your fingertip to the other fingertip. It reaches from the sky and down to the earth, wherever the sky ends or begins. Are you ready to extended side angle, elbow down? Again, no leaning in. Just wave that left hand below and then pinky fingers up, lifting up through your shoulders. Looking down or up, whatever is good for you. And keep breathing. Try really to lengthen and making sure the back edge of the outer edge of the back foot is really engaged in the mat. One last breath. Awesome. We'll work our way down into child's pose. Only a few stretches back. So slowly, slowly move your hips back towards your heel, forehead on the ground. Either take your hands in front of you or down by your side. And listen as you breathe. You're familiar with the old written laws. Love your friend, and its unwritten companion, hate your enemy. I'm challenging this. I'm telling you to love your enemies. Let him bring out the best in you, not the worst. When someone gives you a hard time, respond with the moves of prayer. For then you are working out your true self, your God-created self. That's what God does. He gives his best. The sun to warm and the rain to nourish, to everyone, regardless, the good or bad, the nice or nasty. If all you do is love the lovable, do you expect an extra bonus? Anybody can do that. If you simply say hello to those who greet you, do you expect a medal? Any run-out-of-the-mill sinners do that. In a word, what I'm saying is, grow up. You are kingdom subjects. Now live like it. Live out your God-created identity. Live generously and graciously towards others the way God lives towards you. With all that ringing in our heads, coming into a seated pose on your mat. I'm going to do a spinal twist, seated spinal twist. So your right leg either bended or stretched, let's see. And your left leg here bended underneath yourself. See if you can sit up tall. And then take your left hand and hold your knee and move your right shoulder back. You can also take that elbow on the outer edge of your knee for a deeper twist. Navel towards your thighs so you don't lean back. Use the back hand to lift. I love what the message version says there, that enemies or people giving us a hard time is an opportunity for us to grow and to look like God even more. How's that changing your perspective on people who is giving you a hard time? Relax. Switch your legs around so that this time left foot is on the ground, left knee is lifted, and that right leg is bended. Now, some people prefer this, so if this is better for you, you're welcome to straighten out that leg there. Right hand, either hold your elbow or for the deeper twitch on the twist on the outer edge. So try to be practical right now. If you have people who are giving you a hard time, it doesn't have to be people you hate, just people that you feel have something going on with. Might not even know exactly what. Try to be concrete in the sense that what can you learn? Or where can you be more God-like in your relationship with them? Go. Take your feet to the long end of your mat, making sure your sitting bones are on the mat. Lift up tall, sit tall, and try to move forward with a straight spine, at least a little bit. Now as you lean forward, you might feel a lot of things going on here in the lower legs or back end of your legs, or even your lower back. But just go with it. Take a hold of your legs. And if it's too much, you're always welcome to bend your knees. Relax your legs. Breathe. Slowly let go of the stretch. Come all the way down on your mat. Do our resting butterfly. Sole of the feet together, knees out. You take your heels towards your hips as much as you can, so it should be somewhat relaxing. Now, you probably have a huge arch in your back if you're not doing anything about it, and I will invite you to do that. So lift your pelvis or tilt your pelvis a little bit so that the bottom of the pelvis, I would call it, tilt a little bit off so that your lower back leans a little bit more towards the floor, and that will mean you will have to engage your lower abs a little bit, but that's okay. If your hands can reach the inner thighs, you're welcome to give a little bit of extra weight there. You can close your eyes and just breathe. And sometimes I finish videos after just a little bit of resting pose. But today I want to just finish right now so you can turn off the video and then find your resting pose and stay in it however long you want to. So I will invite you to find resting pose when you have turned off the video. So this is resting pose if you're not really used to it. Let your feet fall out to each side and hands down so that your palms face up. Relax your shoulders and everything. So maybe 5 or 10 minutes where just close your eyes and let the heaviness of the body just sink into the mat. And if things has touched you, as we have read, maybe you go back to the scripture and just look at it and let that sink in, not as a way to condemn yourself, but more as a way of saying, God, help me. Help me to live generously. Help me to let go of any grudge I might have. Help me to develop, to look more like you, Jesus, a loving, completely loving person. So turn off the video after liking and subscribing if you like that, and then find your rest on the mat. Thank you so much for joining. Have a blessed day from my heart to your heart.